Well, hello. I've returned. And that's all I got to say about that. All right, bye everybody. No, anyway, what we've got here. There's a couple of things we got here. First of all, why is there I feel like there's an echo. Why am I hearing an echo? Why am I hearing an echo? I don't know. Anyway, maybe I'm crazy. But if you're hearing an echo, let me know. It's like at the very back of my headset. Yeah, there it is. I know I'm hearing an echo. Okay, hold on. I got to figure this out because it's always audio, and this is the first time back. So yeah. Can you hear me? Can you hear me at all? First of all, that's the first question. Let's see. There we go. I'm going to open up the Twitch stream and see what I can hear. Okay, that sounds fine. Why am I hearing myself, though? That's the real question. Well, I might just have to live with that. If you can't hear it on the stream, I'll just live with it. So anyway, if it's not going to be like a speech jammer in my head the entire time. Anyway, the point is, thanks Medesign for that subscription. Thanks for subscribing in the middle of my chaos. Or renewing. So, now that I am thoroughly thrown off my game by whatever this echo is in my headset, it was going to be something if it wasn't that, I'm sure. I'm just here to chill because I haven't hosted a stream in forever, and I don't even really know what I want to do. I just want to do random things. I've seen people in the last year stream crosswords and shit. You know, and I figure if I can pay the New York Times to make games, and maybe eventually one day they'll just focus on games and not even try news anymore, even though they're like the last remaining somewhat legit newspaper, they're also wishy-washy. I don't know, we just can't have good things anymore. But we do have games. I'm just gonna start going through these and seeing what we can do. Don't backseat unless I get stuck or something. So like, all right, let's see what we got here. Nighttime outfit for short. I don't know. Country that was once known as Land of a Million Elephants. That's a good question. Country led by a sultan. Is that? Ooh. Sultan of Oman? That's a place. However, that helps promote waves. Oh, I have no idea. National Ceviche Day. Ooh, is that Peru? That Peru would fit. Could be Cuba. TV room. That's a den, I guess. Walk slowly and heavily. Clods. Stuck as a printer. Jam. Is that like jam up? I don't know. We'll see. Flew across the country. 3 of them. Uh-oh, I don't know. Drum kit component. Snare looks like it fits. The naked gun. Alright, we'll try again. PJs. Land of a Million Elephants. Ooh, still don't know. Headwear that helps promote waves. Waves? What kind of waves? I don't know, but that's definitely Peru. Walk slowly and heavy plod, I guess. Flew across the country. Oh, so that'd be pretty louse. Sword. Do-rag? Okay, do-rag is a thing. Alright, so we did it. We did it in 1:10. People tend to think that that's fast. I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. Walk slowly and heavily. Iggy would say that. How you been, Midesign? It's been a while. You were away for a while too. I didn't see you around, and then you pop back up. What were you up to? 122-day streak. That's right. See, I do this in a kind of cheaty way. I have a whole like plan. So we go rents, we go plaid, we go cough. Ooh, that didn't get us. It usually gets me at least 4 of them. Okay, so what else can we do here? So we need to find out where the T and the tacos. Nope. No, can't be that. Ooh, okay, I may be in over my head. No, can't be with an H. I bet there's a Y in it somewhere. Usually there's a Y when this kind of thing happens. But oh no. Oof. Ooh, of course I would get one that's resistant to my opener on this, the day of my return to streaming. Oh, my toy? No, is that? Ooh. Well, it's not float because the L was already used. But let's just do that and see if that helps with any of the other ones. Okay, the T's at the end. Great. Jeez. So then the O is probably right next to the T. So it's probably like O-T. It's not tarot. It could be that. And I don't know. Nope, that's a 6-letter word. Gosh, okay. You know what? When that happens, we can go to another one and then come back to it. That's what I usually do. That's part of how I maintain my streaks, is just being like, oh, well, that's stuck. I'll just go somewhere else. Load up on tissues. What does that mean? So this one, I don't mind. Like, I do all of these puzzles, so I don't sit here trying to get them all done, like, perfectly, because ain't nobody got time for that for all of the puzzles. So this one, like, there's like different schools of thought in the community about how to handle these. Like, do you let yourself use the hints or not? And I let myself use the hints. So every time you find a word that's not the word, that's not a word that they want you to get, you get a hint. You get your hint charged up. And I don't mind using those. Okay, so cough, that's probably, yeah. Load up on tissues. So there's probably like a sneeze somewhere. No, sneeze. Okay. Sneeze? Yeah. What else? Cough, sneeze, sniffle. Sniffle, probably. Sniffle. Okay, yeah. Deep, deep, deep. Cold. Okay, so this is probably, yeah, okay, that's the theme. The spangram, the one that goes across the whole thing. Cold something. Okay, but we don't know yet. Sneeze. What else happens when you're sick? Cold, sniffle, sneeze. Okay, wheeze. There's like a wheeze here. Wheeze. Okay. Cold. Sock. I know that's not, but okay. Oh, drip. Ew, post-nasal drip. Gross. Cold. Okay. Oh, no. No. Snot? Nope. I'm glad they don't have that. That would be gross. Cold something. Knock is a word. Tron. Is Tron a word? Tron's a word. Okay. I didn't think they would take that. Say... Mother... Moth is a word. Okay. Hack. Hack is a word. Okay. Cold. Symptom. Okay, there you go. Cold symptom. Yay. And then this one is Trons? No, it's not. Snort. Snort. Yay. Okay. Did it. Snort. Alright. Deep. Can we get the connections this time? Okay. Connections has been like fucking with me lately because I try to do the reverse rainbow thing where you get the hardest one first and then you work your way from there. But I've been having a little trouble with that because how do you even know which one's going to be the easiest category and which one's going to be the hardest category? The only way that you can either try to like think in some meta way, or you can try to you can either try to think in some meta way, like what would they think, or you can just be like, well, which one did I find first? So that must be the easiest one, right? Lately I've been always, the one I get first is always the green one, the second easiest one. So I don't get the reverse rainbow, but let's see what we can get here. Dusky Springbox Noodles. Paul. What the hell is a Paul? See, when you see something weird like this, usually it's like the hardest one. And the hardest one is usually, the first three letters are something having to do with like, okay, pause, I guess, maybe, or all. All is like a tool, a kind of a tool or something. So then maybe there's a category that's like, the last three letters of it are just like some tool or a part of an animal or some crap like that. Stationary, ratchet, constant suction, tube and stationary, mailer, tube, mailer, envelope, box, things that you mail shit in. That could be one. Okay. So let's see. I watched freaking Hank Green play this too many times, and he usually like shuffles it around until they're kind of in the same area, trying to keep them together. Okay, so static, constant, static, constant, stationary, still. Okay, so that's probably another one. Static, constant, stationary, still. Okay, soxer, ratchet, noodle, gear, spring, gear, spring, ratchet. Maybe a pawl. Maybe that's a tool of some kind that I don't know. Or some kind of like mechanical part that I don't know about, that I've never heard of before. It's very possible. So what's left then? Soxer, Dusky, Perrier, and Noodle. Soxer, Dusky, Perrier, and Noodle. Okay, well, if you don't know, okay. Dogs with the first letter changed. So with a husky, poodle, yeah, okay. So, I hate the purple category is always some bullshit like that. Okay, so Paul, spring, gear, what was the other one? Ratchet. Alright, yep, that's the blue one. Okay, now, what did I get first? I got mailer, tube, box, envelope. So that's probably... Oh, it's the yellow one this time. God damn it. Okay, see, I'll never get a reverse rainbow. Anyway, I still did it. And then you can go in and see what everybody else did. How did I do it? Okay, that was only a 2 out of 5 difficulty. Yeah, 40% of people didn't make any. What? I didn't ask for a screen. Uniqueness, nerve, and talent. Yeah, so I got a 98 out of 99 skill, whatever the fuck that means. Anyway, we can get out of here. Ah, no, I don't want any you New York Times things. Go back. Go back. There we go. Ah, okay. How to play. This one, you just put it in the different places. Oh yeah, so we set up so that in Discord, it would try to actually use the live studio chat channel, and a bot would send both Twitch and YouTube chats in there, but it doesn't seem to be working. I think Jay's in there trying to get that fixed right now. Oh, where the heck? Okay, there it is. Okay, what do we got? So we got 5 and 5. This is supposed to be the easy one, I think. Gosh, why is it so tiny? Go bigger. There we go. That's more stream friendly. Okay. So we have, how many 3s do we have? We have 3 3s, and 2 6s. Okay, so that's probably this up here then. Yeah. And then that goes there. This one goes there. Yep, the 4 works out, and then there that goes there. Yeah. Okay. So that's how that works, and then it just gets more difficult over time. So let's see. Greater than 3. The only one greater than 3 is that, so that has to go there. 0 8. Ooh, okay, so that's probably, that might not be it, but that is most likely to go there, because that the average of all the ones going in here are going to be 2, so that makes the most probability sense. Let's just keep putting 2s in there. Ooh, that's not going to work. I'm going to have to do that, and then that would work. So these all have to be different. These all have to add up to 8. This has to be greater than 3. These have to add up to 6, so we can go like that, and that adds up to 6. Ooh, but can't do that, because that has to be the 0, and that's the only one. So this, go here, this 3, and that's 1, because there isn't a 1 in there yet. But now we're fucked again, because there's already a 1 in here, and all we have left is 1s. So something is screwed up. What did I do wrong? So this has to be this. This has to be this, and all the rest of them may not be anything. This has to be either that or that. So let's try pulling that out, and then if this is a 1 and a 1 and a 3, okay, so this could be 1 1. No, because then I need a 4. 1 2 3. So this has to be, the only options these could be 1 2 3 and 0. So it has to be 1 each of 1 2 3 and 0 in here. So where would the 0 go? You can go here. We need the 3. The 3. Oh, we need the 3 and the 0 in there. This is tough. This is tough. How do we get the 3 and the 0 in there? Because both of them have to be in there. Okay. But both of the 3s have, there has to be 2 3s in here because there's no 4 or 5. So you can't make a 6 with a 2 and a 1. Oh my god. Okay, this is hard for a medium one. Can we just do that? And then maybe turn this around. Have the 3 there go into there. This 3. Oh, no, we can't do that because now this... Okay. Okay. Mummy. Oh my god. So this has to be the 2 3s in here, right? Right? And then this, if this was a 1, then one of the other ones have to be a 3 as well, but we don't have any 3s because there has to be a 3 3 and a 3 in here, so all the 3s are spoken for. You can't have them in the 8. Wait, why is my... Okay, hold on. I gotta mess with my VNN a little bit because it's not really... it's audio link input. There we go. It's not really using... There. Is it gonna talk? Okay. That's better. Now I can get behind my mic where my camera can't see my mouth and it'll still move. Okay, very good. Relearning. We're relearning everything. Where's my OBS? Where'd my OBS go? There we go. Okay, good. Very good. Okay. 3. So the bot is not sending chat. Okay, well... We tried with that bot. It didn't work. Okay, so that has to be there. That has to be... Fuck. This has to be all 2s. I'm about to lose my freaking mind. That can't... That has to be the 3. Unless this is 3. And... Alright. No more of this. I'll deal with this later. When I'm, I'll deal with that later when I'm... Ooh, see, that's bigger now. That's good. Maybe we can think better with a big-ass screen. Okay. Toast? Yeah, it's not toast, I don't think. No, it can't be toast, because the O and the A are not there. You got so stuck on this one? Yeah. I am very confused. Oh my god. I'm having a lot of trouble with my mic getting in the way of my hand tracker, which is... And then it gets in the way of my face, and there's... Anyway, okay. It's not boast. I keep thinking of things that with O and the A, and it's not O and the A. Gotta leave that alone. It's not O and the A. A woot? No. I can't have a O in that position. Okay. Oh, that's a word you don't see every day. Habit. Yay! Okay. Okay, got it. See, I told you, going away and coming back works so many times. Oh my god, it's so huge. That's what she said. Okay. Let's see how far we can get with this. We're not going to do the whole thing because this usually takes me a freaking hour to do a Sunday. But let's see how many we can fill in. Poet with a 1982 posthumous Pulitzer. Yeah, I don't freaking know. SLR insert. Ask me to know that. Baths in Bath. I know this is Tig Notaro. Who's Tyler? Aisha. One sporting an article of apparel. A model? I don't know. Sign in a theater. Open. Standing room. Droll. Rock of Ages. Okay, we have to know what the gimmick of this crossword is to know probably these two. Prop for a propose ring. I am gonna guess college credit hours. Yeah, college credit. I don't know. It'll come up. Far from 4. Far from 4. Aft. Starting section. Starting section. I don't know. Fab 4 drummer Ringo. Ringo Starr. I can handle that for you. Let me. No. Swallow something. Hook, line, and sinker. Believe. Don't believe. Maybe? I don't know. It fits. We can change things later. Subject of some modern maps. Don't know. Boots out. Boots out. What does that mean? I don't know. Any with butler or bard. Any with butler, bard. I don't know. Class extra. Played a part. Acted. That's Alec Baldwin. Ran in the rain, perhaps. Don't know. Brig pair. A brig is just ship's jail. I don't know. New Mexico skiing. Is that Taos, I think? Full legislative assembly. Both houses quorum. We'll say personification of darkness.
I'm the personification of darkness from ancient Greece.
I don't know. Shapiro of public. Is that? Oh man, I haven't listened to NPR in forever. I'm in Canada now. I think there was an Ari Shapiro. I don't know. We'll find out if that's wrong or not. These letters here are still like those could be words, so we'll go with it. Buds, pals. I guess. Chips go with salsa. Straight up now, tell me, do you really want to love me forever? Ooh, ooh, ooh. I don't know. A little night music. Well, that was Mozart, but that doesn't fit. I still don't know what this category is. Rent, chorus line. I don't know what they're doing with all those. Creatures formed from the fingers of the sea goddess Sedna in Inuit myth. Ooh, whales? No, that doesn't fit. I don't know Inuit myth enough for that. Personal histories. Bios. Automatons. Informally. Automaton bots. Bots. Call letters. Cell letters. DNA? Batten down the hatches. Nursery rhyme couple. Jack and Jill. They don't fit. I don't know. We'll find out. Cribbage markers. Oh, those. I don't know. Are those pips? Are they like dominoes? I don't know. We'll find out. Signs reciprocal. Intrigue. Signs reciprocal. Cosine? No. Sine, cosine, tangent. And then there's other things with like. Oh, I forget all my trig, man. There's other things like. There's like an anti-sign or something that's not a cosine. I don't remember enough. Bit of power. Bit of a joule. Amp. Watt. Oh, could be watt. Volt. Watt or volt. I don't know. Let's go Soba. Wave 2, say. I don't know. The producers is Mel Brooks. Into the Woods was John Krakauer, but I don't know that that's what we're going for. Yeah, like, I don't know that we're going for that kind of thing. Mel Brooks, yeah. I don't know. What are they doing? Aer Lingus is an airline. It sounds naughty, when you think about it. It's like, what? Yeah, anyway, intertwine. Halloween haul, candy, bag of candy. Something that doesn't fit. In tears, crying. Nope, doesn't fit. Eschew the. Ooh, we're going the low road. Notre Dame, repeatedly hit hard, pummel. Dollop. Oh, can't think. Pop group. Snap, crackle, pop. Elves. Ravi Shankar. Okay, The Wiz, Mean Girl. What is this thing? Chess pieces. I don't know. Irma Bombeck. That's some boomer knowledge. File often installed with computer programs. Ooh, that's a lot of things. EXE file. Do penance. Apply. Hurdle for JD. Oh, that's the LSAT. For lawyers. Become aware of. Figured out, new, learned. Nope, doesn't fit. Fiddler on the Roof Matchmaker. God, I have not seen that in... I think I may have seen it once when I was a very small kid. Playground area often. Oof. Nope. Fearsome feline. Ooh. Is this not ring? Is this one here not ring? Prop for a proposal. I don't know, because this one, I think, is tiger. Rar. What else would it be? Fearsome felines. Leopard, tiger, yeah. What else has 5? Lions? Ooh. Oh, there we go. Jay has got the, Discord, so now you can actually type in the live studio chat in Discord, and it goes to other places. Does Twitch like that? I don't know. I don't know if Twitch... But anyway, it can go to there, but is it going to get... I'm going to test in Twitch chat. Yay, and now it goes into the Discord. And it goes over to the... I know Twitch won't like it if this works. Okay. Ooh, okay. Yeah, Twitch won't like that, I don't think. Yeah. Oh, Tanik's trying to get my attention. He's shopping, and he needs to know because they have the wrong kind of something that I need. Is that okay? Okay, sure. If there's no other option. Okay. But yeah, I don't know if Twitch will like... If there's a way of preventing stuff from going to the Twitch chat from... Like if the YouTube stuff can stop in the Discord and not go to Twitch, because I don't think Twitch wants... I think that was the big deal. Oh, I lost it. Okay, here we go. I might be wrong about that, because that's very old knowledge at this point. Maybe they changed their mind. I don't freaking know. Okay, so it is Aisha Tyler. I'm pretty damn sure, right? Let's just say that this is Tiger, because we want it to be. Plus, I don't know. Fab Four drummer. Oh, wait a minute. Unless this is Star. This could be Star instead of Ringo. But then what would this be? How do you... Lynx is spelled with an I, so it can't be that. Fearsome, because this says fearsome felines, so it's probably an S. So this is probably Ring, and this is probably Star, and this is fearsome felines. I don't know, man. Plus, this might not. This whole section might be completely wrong. One of those nights, I don't know. Tip collector jar. Okay. Something that ends with a J. I don't know. Don't know any poets that end in J. Epitome of graceful beauty. Don't know. Oh, Desi Arnaz. My boomer knowledge comes back. Again, certain stockholder. In theory, they don't want the chat from other services visible on stream. If they actually complain, it'll be a warning, so I'm not going to spend... Okay. If they actually notice us, if Senpai notices us, then it'll be a problem, but what are the chances? Okay. Do I mean lynx? I don't know. I might. I just don't know of any felines. Unless this is right. This could be lions. And then I just don't know what this is. A prop for a proposal that has an N there. Don't know. Certain stockholder. Which came about. Kylo. Wait, where'd that Star Wars Kylo Ren? Gig of a lifetime. Dream job. Advanced. Likes to move forward or is hard. Not sure. Guitar, slangly axe. Front of the line credential. Don't know what that means. Cousin of a mink stole. But that doesn't. No, a mink. A stole is what you turn a mink into. Stoat is what I was thinking of. Stoat. Okay, so stoat is probably true. Cheap trills. Cheap trill. Okay, so that's some kind of a. Yeah, stole is ex-mink. Dodgers comeuppance. Ooh. Probably the Artful whatever happens to Artful Dodger in what the fuck is it? Oliver Twist, but I don't know. Indoor recess locale gym. Super excited and stoked. 1 T of TNT. Try nitro something. It's probably try. I don't know what the last T is, but the last T is probably longer than just try. Least hail. So kind of the weakest, but we know it ends with EST, so we can just do that. Fox. Red fox is. There's more boomer knowledge. Judge pro tem. No. Well, maybe. What is this? Boots out. EJ. And if this is an M, a strange loop. Oh, it's one of those. All right, we don't have enough information yet. Piano pupils practice piece. Oh, so I bet this starts with a P, just because they went out of their way to be alliterative. I'm just gonna guess that starts with a P. Harry had a little lamb. I don't know anything that starts with a P though. Short boxers. Like Little Mac from Punch Out. How some medicines are taken. Orally. That works. Apt name for distance runner. Miles. Oldsmobile Cutlass model. I don't. There, my boomer knowledge fails me. The illusionist arrives. The silver linings. Welcome in. Thanks for joining us in this chill stream where we're just doing random shit. Let's see, what else did he say? Sorry, Tanik was trying to tell me something again. But I've lost it. Oh, he must have deleted it because it took a while to respond because I'm streaming. All right, back to this. Like 45 downs flaw. Oh, I see. So this is Icarus, mythical figure undone by hubris. Flaw was that he flew too high. He was, yeah, hubris was like his flaw. I don't know. We'll see. Prima ballerina. I think that's like star. Etoile. Used an alternate account to play against easier opponents and gamers. Smurfs. Police weapon. Baton, I guess. Could be taser. Some of these are like really questionable. FN, like, so this would have to be a syllable boundary. This SB is a very weird combination. I don't know about that. Could be a taser. TSR, taser might work more. Taser. Yeah, those are more likely letter combinations. Transition points. I don't know. Blue ribbon brand. Perhaps blue ribbon. Ice cream parlor offerings. Samples. Scoops. Borscht. How do you make a borscht? I don't know. Classic theater name. Like theaters used to be named like Apollo all the time, or PA or Paramount, or I don't know. Struggles with sibilant sounds, lisps. Law but not order. Don't know. Hints. So is that a verb or a noun? That's to be seen. Word with record or union. Record. Civil record, civil union. But I think this is a B. Blank down the hatches. Like, what else would it be but batten down the hatches? This looks like it could be lullaby here. Lullaby. Record. Union label? Record label? Record label, but I don't know about union label. I've never heard of that. Labor record? Labor union? But I've never heard of labor record. Anyway, in this case, this is probably fatal. It was a fatal flaw. He died. A class act field trip. This looks like it should be a field trip. I still don't know what the gimmick is for the puzzle, but getting some things anyway. Capital near the Andean foothills. So the Andean foothills are in Peru and Ecuador, and the capital of Peru is Lima. That's too short. Capital of Ecuador, I don't remember. Could be Chile. Capital of Chile is, I don't remember. Oh my god, everything's failing me. It'll come back to me when I get more. To give it a twist, I don't know. Give it just twist your nipples. I don't know. Downright mean, nasty. Bit of wisdom. Founder of the Mughal Empire, Babar, I think. That's who the elephant was named after. I think that's true. String plucking sound, twang. Sources and etymology. Ooh, that's a long time ago. Prone, laying down, prostrate. Some summers, in brief. Hot, nasty, black and white desserts. Oreo, something, maybe. Oreo fits to start, but I don't know. University with a Pierre and Marie Curie campus. Pierre and Paris University? University of France, University, yeah, I don't know. Shell filling stations, gas stations. Basic programming. Go to chicken pieces, nuggets, fingers. Part of AT&T, American Telephone and Telegraph. It could be Ameritech, could be Tel. Is most likely to be abbreviated with 3 letters. Both telephone and telegraph. Work that way. Ballet or bourrée in bouillon. Oh my god. There's too much French in this one. There's too much French. Do a diner job. Bussing tables. Gathering of moles is... I'm not a mole. I don't know this shit. Setting for cold pours. Anything goes. Anything goes in Vegas, in Chicago. Continued interminably. I don't know. Discus throw at the Olympics. That's what, an event? Buzzing nuisance. Gnat. Glitzy fabric. Like some cheese. Holy. I like some cheese. Gotcha. Got him. Blue neck bird. Tit. Usually that's the only way they can get that word into these crosswords, and sometimes they'll do that. What is this? What is this here? The Whiz. Yeah, I don't know. And then this one, if this was an I, and if this was a T, apply. Yeah, I don't know. I'm a believer, I guess. Flock formation, V. Blue-winged bird, J. Could be a J. Hi, J. What is this? Fiddler on the Roof Match. Oh, Gosh, I don't know. I know that Yentl is a thing. That I've heard. I don't know if that. I mean, I don't know if that's the name or not. Maybe I'm. I don't know. Maybe I'm mixing up some things from a culture that isn't mine. Do penance, atone. Continue to turn. If this is. Oh well, yeah. Ran on. And then if this is an L, then this is gotcha. Yeah, see, I don't know. I don't know if that's correct. Yeah, but okay. I don't think we're finishing this right now anyway. So, is there anything that you've been screaming at the monitor? I'll allow some back seating because I haven't finished a Sunday puzzle in a while. So if there's anything you're screaming at me right now, you can type it in chat. If not, yeah, I'll just move on. You may have heard a little bit that there is Minecraft music in the background, and there's a reason for that. Because that... Get back to this one here. Because that is where we're gonna go next. I do not know. I just feel like SLR insert. I don't know anything about that stuff. Baths. Sign anything. Oh, exit. One Sparting an article of apparel. Droll. Dry, maybe? Could be dry. Ugh, I still don't know the freaking gimmick of this puzzle. Starting section, as well as like the line and sinker. Plea. I don't know that that's gonna work. Please. Anyway. Oh, seals probably. That would make sense. The Palace Theater. This could be label or labor. Intertwine. In tears. Sobbing. Repeatedly hit hard. Okay, that's probably going to be it. That's about as far as that's going to go, I think. And I'll finish it someday. I always hold on to this thing, like if I'm going on like a plane trip or whatever, I'll end up going back through the archive and, you know, working my way from Mondays to Tuesdays, Thursdays. They get difficult. The Mondays are always the easiest, and the Sundays are always the hardest. Like if you go to, where is it? Do they have it here? Do they have it? I never use the website, so I'm like, what am I doing? Time games. Where's the? Nope, I don't want that. I just want the main. Oh, view all games. There we go. So in the app, there's like a me section, like a what are my statistics section, and I don't see that anywhere, which is kind of weird. The apps and the website, they have like two different sets of features. There's like shit on the website that's not on the app and the other way around. I don't know, whatever. Maybe they'll be better someday. So, hold on. We are now going to just head on over. First, let's kill this. Wait, what am I doing? Oh. Oh, okay. I'm already set up properly. All I have to do is close this window. There we go. Okay. So now, what am I doing in Minecraft? The main thing that I've got going on in Minecraft is I have all my shit from all these different kinds of worlds that I've used. People who have run worlds, and then sometimes those people have been kind enough to give me a copy. And then I hold on to them. And then a long time ago now, I think I did a stream like a year ago where I showed off this world where I had all the different things. Yeah, that's a lot about it. This is Bedrock Edition. First of all, let's address the elephant in the room. This is Bedrock Edition. Why do I play Bedrock Edition? Because that's going to be a thing people ask. Because people are like, who the fuck are you who's a PC gamer playing Bedrock Edition? And you know what? That's a great question. The thing is, I started Minecraft in 2019, so it was already pretty late. And then it was like, okay, who am I going to play with? Who's available to play with? And the people who were available to play with at the time were people who only had consoles. So I played the version that can play with people on consoles, which is Bedrock Edition. I went back and forth between that and Java, tested it out. And you know what? When you don't start with Java Edition and then you go to Java Edition from Bedrock, you know, there are some things that are just kind of like matters of taste or matters of habit, you know, that aren't necessarily better one way or another, but you get used to them. You get used to them being this way, and when it's not that way, it's like, I don't like it. So I got used to Bedrock, and yes, there are problems with it. Yes, there's fucking monetization buttons and like all this nonsense. And it's buggier than Java and all this kind of stuff. But then there are other things about like placing down blocks is a lot easier and smoother on Bedrock Edition. You don't need mods to make it work properly. Like, as good as it's gonna work, you don't need mods to make it so that it doesn't chug. And Java as a programming language is not meant for 3D gaming in any way, shape, or form. So it's like, yes, Java has the cool mods, but I got used to Bedrock. So there. Java isn't perfect, is what I'm saying. It's not the second coming of gaming Jesus. So I live with Bedrock's flaws, and I'm fine with that. So, what we need to do first is make a backup of this world. Let's see. First, I want to get rid of this one because I don't need a zillion backups. So let's delete this one. And then let's go into here and duplicate. So I don't screw. Ugh. I'm drinking a soda, so now getting all gross on stream. Oh yeah, these worlds are huge. Well, they're 3 gigs, so I guess it takes a while to duplicate. Oh, yeah, I can also address another thing. This layout. So Jay tried a layout that was kind of like this, and I was like, that's good. I like that it's in a little box. We need to make it, you know, make the gameplay into a little box area for sure. But I felt like the box was also too small. So like I wanted something kind of in between. So I had, so this is the version that I made. I don't know. I like that there's a little bit of space. I'm still overhanging the game a little bit, but I'm not completely covering it up. If there were any heads, I would put them down here, and the chat you may have seen pops up into here. Or at least, yeah, I think it has. I thought I remember seeing that. Somebody said something. Yeah, so it still pops up and covers over the screen a little bit up here, but it gets me a little bit off the gameplay area, but doesn't shrink the gameplay area so much that I feel like it's so tiny. I need a magnifying glass. So I don't know. We're all trying different things because there's got to be another way than just having it, full screen in the back. So as much as we all just try different things, and then eventually we'll find something that really works. Okay, God, this is taking much longer to duplicate than I expected. So, okay, I just had to complain about it. Okay, so that would be this one. This is gonna be backup version. Okay. Now, here we go. So my goal in this world right now is to copy everything into the main play area. The area, I want everything to not be so far out from spawn. So I have this seed that I'm considering my forever world seed. And let's go. Wow. Okay. So yes, here is my forever world seed. Ooh, VN's starting to chunk a little bit. Okay, so this is 0, 0. Right here, I've copied this bridge in from another world that I did. This here is going to be kind of like the, oh man, VN really is struggling right now. This is going to be kind of like, like a shopping district area or whatever. And down here is just, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what we can put in. The palette that we're using is all the shit that I've ever built. So this I already plonked in. We can probably put something over here. Yeah. The thing that I want to start moving right now is at... Is this it? Yeah, this is it. This is the first world I ever built on. So everything is very, come on, load. There's a big ass hole in the world right there. Come on, load. I know you can do it. There we go. Very good. So I want to get this, basically this whole area, copied into an area that kind of, that is kind of similar to it. Which I found in the main seed at, I think it was 590, 750. Yeah, so we got kind of a similar area where there's a swampy area like this. So I want to copy it into here. Yeah, I want to copy it into here. And then but the angle is a little weird and different. So the angle here, times set. Game rule. Where is it? Do weather cycle. Do day. Do okay. There it is. Do daylight cycle. False. Okay. Okay. So here you can see this section here kind of goes like straight east-west. The problem that we kind of have here is that this area here kind of curves up to the northwest or the northeast. So we probably have to have this jutting down into what is the water on the other map. So we would need it to connect to the main area about. So this would have to be the shoreline where it's going. The east-west shoreline would have to be around here, so that then it will like come down off of the shoreline. And that's good because that, ooh, this road, okay, that helps. Although I have that thing over there that I want to copy too. So, plunk. Whoop. Oh, we're in spectator mode. That's right. Yes, let's get that whole mushroom. And it would come to here. Okay, resume game. There. Now I can see the coordinates. 300, 79, 59. Okay. And then I want this whole freaking thing. Now you can't copy all of this crap in. Oh, I think the bot stopped working. It stopped working it's still working between Twitch and YouTube, but it's not working in Discord anymore. Nice skin. Yeah, it's a nice little tiger skin. It was money cost. It was in the freaking marketplace, but you know what? Sometimes art is worth it. Okay, now this here, this is a creative build. This I am not gonna copy in because this is supposed to be my survival forever world. So I don't want to cheat and put in a creative build, even though I fucking love this build. This is the thing in Minecraft that I am most proud of in my entire life. Yeah, I love this shit. I love this shit. Yeah, this is an actual place on Earth that you can go to. This is an actual place on Earth that you can go to at those coordinates. What is at those coordinates? What is that? 30 north, 90 west. If anybody recognizes this bullshit from the architecture, perhaps, or from just me saying it on a previous stream. But anyway, yeah, it's pretty good that it rains there. Louisiana, yep, that's the state. Yeah, this is the main square of New Orleans. That's the famous beignet shop, and this building actually continues further this way. Of course, this entire area continues further this way, and that way, and that way, and the Mississippi River is supposed to be like here. But you know, I can't make the whole frickin' city. I don't have that kind of time. Weather? Yeah, weather clear. Game will do weather cycle false. I want that to be true, and I want the day cycle to be true as well on my actual world, but we're not there right now. Oh, I think this music is a little high. Let's turn it down a little bit. Okay. So, now the issue is I gotta find the whole the dimensions of what to copy. So this to the end of this. I don't want to go past here, I guess. I don't want to catch. Yeah, it's this. So this is as far as it should go this way. So 369 on the east side. On the west side, we got negative 85 to 64. But the most important thing is negative 85. 85 to 300. Okay, so our spread is negative 85 to 300 on that side. And then north-south, I want to grab in all of this. This is just a little treetop apple orchard with a radio tower. This is all very basic shit because this was some of the earliest shit I did. But this build is very reminiscent of Monticello, Thomas Jefferson's house in Charlottesville, Virginia, because that's where I lived before I was dragged away to Canada. This here is like a biodome that has farms and stuff in it. It's supposed to be set up so you can put villagers in here and they'll harvest the stuff and just kind of drop them on the ground. And then these things which are supposed to be running will pick up the stuff and then drop them here, and then they'll come into this this waterway and then drop into this sorting system in this storage room. So, and this storage room is under the house. So that's how that's supposed to work. But it's not working right now because it's broken. But anyway, the point here, the point of all this was that I was trying to get the dimensions of this area. Yeah, it is like, and the problem is that I've stopped and started so often that I just don't have a I don't have everything tied together. So it would be nice someday if I can do that. Okay, so so on the north side, it's 95, 80, 95, 80. West side is negative 85. East side is 300. And the south side. How far south do I want to go with this? So I want to get all of that. And this was Tanik's, my boyfriend's little castle he was building during one of the times when I actually convinced him to play a little bit. Okay. So the south is 10,025. Now, you can't copy something that huge in game. You just can't. You can't copy that size of a thing. So that's where other tools come in. Oh, but wait. I need to make sure that I know where the fuck I'm putting this. That's kind of important. Yeah. So if I don't know, like, what spot I'm anchoring the copy to, like, then what am I even doing? So I said that this was going to be, that this part up here was going to be the coastline. So that, this here, this coastline, coastline is at 97.59. Okay. And then I just need to know how far I want this to go. So this coastline here, oh, right. Okay. This coastline here is at 0. West side 0. X equals 0. But I want this at Z equals that. Okay. So now if I go to the place where I want to put this, and then come all the way over here. Okay, so this is going to be... yeah, it takes a while sometimes for Bedrock to load in all that crap. So this is going to be my 0 here, which is negative 273 on this map. Negative 273. Okay. So 0 to 273. So that's going to be an offset of some amount. So this line, this shoreline, is at about negative 1700. We can round that, 1700. So that's going to go to 1700. Okay, so we do have... So we can make an anchor point at, okay, Z 1700 and 300 minus 273, 300 minus 273, 27, 1700. Okay, so let's go. Oop, no, we're going up. We're going up. Okay. 273, so 0 plus... Okay, so the math is... But I think we're going to have to do a rotation here as part of the problem. It might have to rotate 180. 1700 west side. This is where the problems come in, where my brain starts getting confused because of the rotations. It's like, but the numbers are going down in that direction and they're going up in that direction, and now I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, so just think for a second. That's 300. Okay, so in the other map, over here is 300, and then it goes down to 0. Over here is negative, like, 400 or some shit, and it goes down. Okay, so yeah, it is the other way around. We are looking at 180-degree rotation. So from on the other map, it's 0 to 300. Here it's 273, negative 273, and then I should just be able to subtract 300. So negative 273 to negative 573. I think we got there. I think we got there. 573 is here. Okay, and now it looks like we're gonna have to go. Oh, yeah, that's right. So 1700, 573. So now I need to force Bedrock to save this chunk. And the only way to do that is to place something there. Normally, if the way it saves space, like Java Edition will save basically every chunk that it generates. Bedrock Edition will only save chunks that that you've used at all. So that helps save space. And then also it has some actually interesting, some may say problematic, goddamn, what's the word? Consequences of that. You're rattling all this off immediately. You're a Minecraft encyclopedia. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, I played a shit ton of Minecraft from 2019 to 2024. And most of it was in Bedrock Edition. But, like, I also just kind of, like, puttered around the Minecraft space. And I was actually trying to do some really technical shit on Bedrock Edition. Like, trying to be like, see, you can have mod-like shit. It's never going to be the shit that Java Edition has. But, like, there are some features that people don't realize that it has that you can get kind of close enough for people who are playing on consoles anyway. And so I kind of liked, that was my job, was like, let's make it so that people on consoles can have a mod-like experience. And it was fun. It was fun to really dig into that. So, yeah, save and quit. Because now we need to open up a program. Because you can't copy that much shit in the game itself. Come on. Well, this program takes forever to open. It's slow, it chugs, but it gets the job done. It's clunky as hell too to use, but yeah, we'll get everything where it needs to go as soon as it loads. As soon as it loads. Well, I guess I'll just take a little stretch because this is taking a while. What do we got going on in the Discord? Okay, got live studio chat working. Yeah, for some reason it's not doing it in the Discord anymore. But it is still getting things to the different sides of the internet, which is good. Okay, yeah, Metazyne is trying in the Discord, and that did earlier send things to both Twitch and YouTube, but it did not anymore. So for some reason the Discord part of it broke. Who knows why? Who can even say? Oh, here we go. This thing worked. But okay. Are you caught up with 7.4 and the raids? I haven't gotten to that VOD yet. Yes, we did. We streamed a thing. We got 7.4 MSQ done. We did the raids. They're fun. They're fun. I definitely understand your criticism about the way the story went, but like in the raids, I mean. But we had fun with it. We didn't really like. I don't think we were too offended in the moment, but I definitely get it. Yeah, you guys were like, that's some bullshit, and yeah, I mean, when you think about it, it is a little bit of a cop out, for sure. Okay, open world. This better be okay. This is the. You can see in the tooltip here, or in the not tooltip, fucking thumbnail, that this was the last place we went. So this is the world we went. Let's open that. It could have been so much worse. I guess so. I mean, yeah. I mean, it could have just been like complete hot steaming dog shit. Like that is always a possibility. Is this working? Yeah, it's working. It is working. It just takes a while. Let's see what else is going on around here. Anybody trying to talk to me? No, that's good. I'm busy. Don't talk to me. Come on, come on. Loading level. I might just have to leave this open. No OpenGL module? Okay. Whatever. Okay. 3D editor. So this program, it can edit Minecraft levels of both versions. It can convert things between Java and Bedrock. It's a very handy program. It costs money now. It used to be free. But it's nice when it works and when it's not being super fucking slow. I think the dude said he's doing a rewrite of it. Because right now it's written in Python. I think he's rewriting more of the stuff in C++ or whatever, so it doesn't go as slow. Is there a problem? Finishing... Oh, it had to go download something. Okay. Come on. You could do it. Oh, there we go. Cool. Hello? Hello? Yay. Okay, so we're in the world. In this editing version. Okay. So, this is where we want to go. So you see here how there's holes. There's holes in the world here and there because Bedrock just doesn't save everything. Those chunks will be generated back in again when you open the world. But see, the further you go from that block that we put down. So that block that we put down kind of triggered a save, I guess, on a bunch of stuff in this area. None of this, the last time I opened this map, none of this stuff saved, even though I was here before. But because I placed a block this time, it saved most of it around here. And I kind of didn't want it to save most of this shit. I just wanted it to save that one spot, but, you know, whatever. Because this way I'll at least have a view on the world when I come to paste in what we're copying and pasting. So now we got to go over there. 0, 10,000. See how long it takes for this program to load things in too. Okay. So now we need to select a whole ass area. How do you select a whole ass area? Okay. Okay, so now we have a selection area, and we can say, let's take this from x equals 0. No, I wanted... Where the fuck's my... Notepad? Come back here. Okay, we want this from x 85 to... And let's go down. I don't want everything underneath. I want the underneath areas to remain... Oh, but if I copy in... Ooh, okay, hold on. Hold on a second. Yeah, okay, damn it. Damn it, damn it, damn it. This is gonna be messy. Okay, see, we've run into a technical issue here, and let me explain. The issue is that when I first started this world, the underground only went to Y0. And now the underground goes to Y -64. They did an expansion where you could dig even deeper down. So the way this area is, it still has some chunks that end at 0. Which... if I copy them over, I don't want this old shit, this old design. Okay, so that's a problem. So I could copy everything, say, from 50 up, from Y50 up, but then the problem becomes if I copy it onto some of those chunks that weren't generated yet. I don't know if that works. I don't know what it would do. If it would just have a freaking hole in the world there. This may be more complex than I expected. I may have to go make sure every fucking chunk over there gets generated first, which is a pain in my goddamn ass. Oh, see, now this would not be a problem on Java Edition. This would absolutely not be a problem on Java Edition, because it would have generated all those chunks already. What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? I don't know. I legitimately do not know. I might put this aside, this section aside, and move to something else, because I would have to just go generate every single fucking chunk over there. But what if I do? What if it's actually easier than it seems? Okay. Let's try something. Close this. 3 unsaved changes. No, don't save anything. Okay. Now, I'm gonna do some math. I'm gonna try some shit. So, every chunk that we need, I'm going to copy over from like y equals 45 to y equals 200 or some crap. So I need the underground to be pre-generated so it has everything below y0. But what I can do is I can just run around and place a block everywhere that is in a chunk that I need. Now, that sounds like a big fucking problem. So let's automate it. Can't get a command. Why can't I get a command block? Did I not enable cheats on this world? Not enable cheats on that world. Because I do want cheats. Because you need cheats for good mods and stuff, and my survival world is gonna have mods, but cheats are on. Command blocks are even on. Okay. Basically, I want to be able to like mod out my world, but not in a cheaty way. Just, you know, add different kinds of monsters, add different kinds of blocks and stuff, but, you know, keep the spirit of survival. Oh, I think I just figured out my echo shit. Hold on. I think I just figured it out. Okay, you all can still hear me, right? I'm gonna assume that you can. But yes, I have fixed my echo. I just figured it out. Only took an hour and 47 minutes. Okay. Yeah. Good. So, resume game. What do I have in my inventory? Ooh, did I get... I hope I'm not fucking up my own inventory. Oh well, whatever. Spot the programmer. This is tedious. What if we could automate it? Yeah, but it's just now let's see if I actually can, because I'm gonna have to do some math and I'm gonna have to do some command blocks. So give me a command block. Okay. So this is our far side. So the coastline is at sea. I'm just trying to orient myself. So 1700, 573. Yep, is that. And that would be. That's supposed to be 9759 on the other map. And let's see, 9759 minus 9580 is 179. So we want 179 blocks this way to be included. That's 1700 minus 179. 1700 minus 179 is 1521. So we need everything from 1521 to 79 to okay to 10,025 minus 1950. 59 is 266. So plus 1700 is 1966. Okay, so to negative 1966. North and south. East and west. For west. So this is as far east as I want to go. Or actually west. East on the origin map, west in the destination map. But this is as far as I want that to go. And then it needs to go to negative 273 plus 85, or 273 minus 85. Okay, so on the west end, it'll be negative 188, and on the east end, it'll be, where are we? Negative 573. Okay, so that's our area that we need. Okay. Now to remember how to do this shit. So I need an area that will remain always loaded so that the command blocks always run. In Bedrock Edition, this is a ticking area. Ticking area, add circle centered where we fucking are with a radius of, let's say, 2 chunks. Command blocks, we'll call it. So now this area here will remain loaded constantly. Put this down. Try to remember how to do command blocks. It's been fucking years. Okay, so we want a repeating command block. We'll leave it on needs redstone for now because we're not ready yet. It'll be unconditional. Delay in ticks. Let's give it a 19 tick delay so we can see it in action. Okay. So okay. I need to remember how all this nonsense works. So we're gonna need a place to hold variables. And the way that's usually done is a scoreboard. Go the hell away, you goddamn taskbar. Oh, it's because somebody sent me a message on Discord. Okay. Scoreboard, objectives, add. Objectives, call it xval. X value. So now we have a variable for x, a variable for z. Go away. I need to see chat. Holy shit. Okay. So we can scoreboard players add Rowlga xval. So what I'm trying to do here is just teleport into every single chunk and place one block. That's the whole point here, is just for as long as this goes, just like teleport to every single chunk, place a block, teleport to the next chunk, place a block automatically. So we need to start it at a certain x value, which is negative 188. Right. Is that correct? Yes, I think so. Yes, negative 188. added negative 188. Okay. And we want the Z to start at... Oh, actually, no. No. We want set Rowlga to 573. We want it to start at the low value. Set X val negative 573. Okay. And then this also to start at the lowest, which is 1966. Okay. Now, command input. TP Rowlga. Ooh, can you do that? Can you use the variables like that? Ah, maybe not. Maybe not. Okay, if I am standing where I need to stand to begin, this can still work. So what I want to do is teleport myself 16 blocks in one direction, in the X direction. And then once I've done that, then this has to be a chain. Okay, so I've teleported myself 16 blocks to the east. And then I need to check. Well, no, then I need to scoreboard, add Rowlga X val 16. So that tracks where I am. That tracks that I've moved 16 blocks to the east. Okay. And then I need scoreboard players. So scoreboard players set or add Rowlga 16. Is that what I did here? Scoreboard players add Rowlga 16. Add Rowlga xval 16. Okay, yes. I'm just looking at this help text here in the middle. So now I need scoreboard players test Rowlga xval if it is okay, minimum. If it is greater than, so we're doing this from 188, no, from 573 to 188. So if it is greater than 188, and then there wouldn't be a maximum. It's just if it's greater than 188. Okay, can I copy and paste this? No, because it's Bedrock Edition. Sort players test Rowlga that 188. Now, part of all this, you might start getting to the thought, well, at this point, couldn't we have just flown around and placed all the blocks manually? The amount of time this is taking. Yes, probably. If I knew what I was doing, this would be a lot faster way of doing it. But I don't entirely know what I'm doing because it's been for fucking ever. But I want to do this. I want to figure this out again. Test if X val is greater than 188. So was that it? Scoreboard player test X val. Scoreboard players test Rowlga xval 188. Okay. Scoreboard players. Test. Rowlga xval 188. And if it's true, so now it needs to be conditional. So only if it's true. Then TP Rowlga back to the starting X value, but 16 down on the Y. I mean on the Z. So that's the starting X value negative 573, and then 16 down on the other axis. And then again, only if that last one happened. Scoreboard, players, test, Rowlga, Z-val. Oh wait, no, I need to add first. Players, add, Rowlga, Z-val, 16. Chain. Conditional. Scoreboard. Players. Test. Rowlga. Z-val. If it's greater than 1521. I think I want to add another 16 to these just to be sure. Because I don't know how the borders are going to interact. So let's go 21 plus 16 is 05. And if that's true, if that's true, then we want to stop this whole fucking thing. So actually, I think this has to be a chain. And this has to be a test. Test Rowlga Z-val greater than 1505. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going across X, and then every time we hit the end of X, we go back to the start, but down 16Z. And we're going to keep on doing that until we hit the maximum Z amount, and then this should turn off in theory. So because of that, scoreboard players set Rowlga Z-val. Just going to set it to that so that this should never be true. Now I'm going to turn this on. Hold on, I'm not going to turn it on yet. Okay, conditional. This is a chain, so it's safe to turn that on now. Okay, conditional. I don't want the delay here now. Now I want the delay here. Okay. Oh, okay. Test if it's... No. Okay, no. We don't want that. We want it to be the maximum of that. So we want to test if it's underneath that. So if it's between 1966, 70, 82. If it's between 1982 and 1505, then this should do the thing. Now, if I turn this on and I start teleporting around randomly, then we have a problem. Just in case that happens, let's make the delay big enough that I can actually respond to it and fix the problem. Gentlemen, there's a chance this will work. Yes. Let's put the delay at 200. That's 10 seconds. That should give me enough time to type game rule command blocks enabled false. And actually, if I just have that in the chat history, it'll be a lot easier to do later. So I could actually change this. Let's say 5 seconds. Okay. All right. Look, it didn't do it. So that's good, I think. Is it working is the question. Score 1504 is not in range 1982 to 1505. Okay. And because of that, none of this stuff is happening. Okay. I was right. Okay, I was right. That's good. Now, there's a problem here, which is I didn't insert a block for placing a block. So, okay, let's see. Scoreboard players add that. TP me to there. Okay, I think I can just add one on top like that, and they will both happen at the same time. What is it? Is it place? No. Block? Set block. That's what it is. Set block. Yeah. Okay. Set block where I am to whatever the fuck. Cobblestone? Is that what it is? Let me see. I gotta test this. Set block. Okay. Now does it work? Do I have to do Minecraft cobblestone? It doesn't look like it. But that does work. Okay. Alright, so that should work. Now let's go through this one at a time and be sure that we know what we're doing. So, first, it will test that we still have Z-axis left to go. If so, I will be teleported 16 to the right and place a cobblestone and increase my scoreboard, my X scoreboard. It will then check if my X scoreboard is greater than that. I actually want to go slightly off the screen a little bit to 72. And then, if so, I will come back to the start. Let's go another chunk over 89. Just to be safe. Add 16 to my Z. And then I don't need that anymore. Okay. Are we ready? Are we ready? Let's find out. Okay, so I need to find 589. Really? That far? 19. Are we sure about that? Are we sure about that? 1966? No, 1521. Okay. 1521. So we're back here somewhere. And then, okay, wait. So that's the end. That's the end. I want to go the other direction. I want to start 589, 1966. This is a big area. I'm going to end up cutting off this piece of land over here. Rip. Anyway, 1966. 5. Oh, I could have just teleported. Whatever. 589. Okay. 589, 1966. And actually, let's go a little bit this way. Didn't I do that? Yeah, I did. I did increase it to 1982. Okay. So let's set a block here so that this chunk is loaded. Set. Scoreboard. Players. Set. Rowlga. Zval. This should do it. It's not doing it. Why is it not doing it? It's testing it. It sees that it's in the right range. But it's not doing it for some reason. Okay, because this fucking worked. Yeah, the tragedies of programming. For sure. Why did this not work? Oh. No, that should have worked. Yeah, TP. Yeah. So that should have worked. Let's try this. Let's try putting it straight into it like that. Yeah, it should be a chain. Okay, we're going to negative 1589. And let's just let's say 60. Yeah, nice. 1882. Oh, shit. Okay. Okay, so it's teleporting me relative to the command block instead of relative to myself. That's not what we want. So I just remembered now. there is a whole other command for this. Where is all my shit? No, I must have closed. Okay, just start a new tab. We're going to the Minecraft wiki. Okay, execute. We want the execute command. Blah, blah, blah. Execute as. That's what we want. Execute as. I think. Execute. Or is it at? As. At. We want as and at. As me, at myself, run TP. That's what we want. This is what we want right here. Execute as me. At myself, run TP me. And actually, if I'm running it as myself, I can just do that. Okay. That should do it. Now the other thing though is it wasn't doing this part. So I think we need to kind of like just kind of add them in there. Let's see. Also, if you hear any of the people talking in the background, let me know, because this is the first time I've streamed since moving to Barry's house, and I'm not in my own room doing this anymore. I'm in kind of the computer room, which is just on the main floor where everyone is. So let me know if there's like sound coming through, and so I can, do something about it. So what we need to do is we just need to fit this in here. Let's take that out. Take that out. Oh shit. I fucked that up. Okay. Well, we're gonna have to do that again then. I think. Let's see. Oh good, no, it saved it. Whew. Okay. That goes there. That goes there. That goes there. Set block cobblestone. Add. Okay. Let's see if it works now. TP me over there. Set it to that. Oh. 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 Wait. Is it not doing the set block? I don't see it doing the set block. It's not doing the set block. So stop. Why is it not doing the set block? That'll do it. It said itself. That's right, because I have to do the fucking execute as over here too. That's right. Okay. It set itself to a cobblestone. That'll definitely stop it from working. Okay. Okay. Was that this one? Yeah. Okay. Execute as Rowlga at himself. Set block. Run set block cobblestone. Okay. Score player. What? Any of the? There's got to be another one. Yeah, this one. Okay. Execute as Rowlga at self. Run. TP. There. Okay. Okay. All right. So now we need to. Scoreboard players. And to get my X-Val back to where it was. And, okay. And, okay. Let's... No. Let's make sure we do an actual good test run first. I was about to be cocky, but let's not be cocky. Okay. Oh no. Okay. This little sliding motion is not going to be good. That's going to fuck us up. Okay. But this is basically what we want. So it works. I just need to do it in a way that doesn't cause that little sliding motion. And all I have to do for that is not place the block exactly where my feet are, but instead place the block like one block down. Oh, did you clip the replacing the command block replaced itself with a cobblestone? That's, yeah. I think that's gonna be a good one. Okay, so we got delay and ticks. Let's do a 5 tick delay. And let's delay 1 tick on that. Do we need to place... Yeah, we need to place the block here. Okay. So then I TP, and then I place a block, and then it adds 16 to... Okay. Okay. And then this is 5 ticks. So we're going to be teleporting 4 times a second. Hopefully that's fast enough. How many chunks is this? Let's do the math first, because I want to know how long this is going to take. I think that's important to know. So, 1966, well, actually, I'm going into 82 minus 1505 is 477 divided by 16 is 29.8. So let's say 30 chunks in one direction. And then 573, I'm going up to 589 minus 188, but I'm going to 172. Minus 172 is 417 divided by 16 is 2606. So let's round that up to 27. 30 times 27 is 810. Divided by 4 is 202 seconds, which is 3 minutes and some change. Let's make it go a little faster. I don't know, maybe like 3 ticks, every 3 ticks. We may run into some issues with that, with how fast it's going. But we shall certainly find out. Okay. Scoreboard. I need to set my X value back. And then go. Oh wait, what the fuck? Okay. Okay. So it started going diagonally at some point. Okay, where? Oh, I know where I went wrong. Very interesting. Okay, I know where I went wrong. Where I went wrong is that I didn't reset the X value when I teleport on the Z axis. So there needs to be another one. And I could just copy this one. Here's set. There. Ah! Let's see, how long is this gonna go? Let's find out. Since let's see. So now it's every 3 ticks. So which is what, 3/20ths of a second? 3 divided by 20.15. So that's 27 times 30 times 0.15 divided by 60. Okay, so this will go for 2 minutes. Where are we now? Yep. Oh, okay. Yep. Now we're down to negative 15, 18. This should be the. Oh wait. We're not supposed to be. Wait a second. We're not supposed to still be doing this. We're not supposed to be doing this at 1390. We were supposed to end. at 1571. Can I kill it? Game rule command blocks enabled false. Okay. Now where the hell am I? Where am I? Where? Okay. So I need to be this way. I need to be this way. Okay. Look at all that. Look at all them blocks. Look at all them blocks everywhere. Oh, that's fun. Okay, well, all this shit's loaded now. Even though I didn't do it right, like, I did it. That's something, right? Okay, now I can copy in all that shit from the beginning. Let's now... Let's turn this into a impulse so it never does anything ever again. And, move the ticking area. Okay. So that should do it. That should do it. That's probably going to take a little bit to save. I have too many windows open. Okay. So that is that. I probably want that to be the backup version. Or maybe I need another... This is the backup version before I started fucking with it. I don't want to... It takes so long to duplicate. Well, I have this now. I've done this once. Let's just go. Let's YOLO it. Oh boy. Oh boy. Such calming music. Jade raid. Oh my god. Jade. Which Jade? Which Jade? Why didn't it tell me about this raid? Is this an unofficial raid? I didn't mention it in my chat, in the chat that I'm looking at. Oh my god. Why? I can't believe you've done this, Twitch. Barry, which Jade? Tell me the... Because there's like 2 different Jades that you hang out with. Is this Jade Set Radio? I'm trying to figure this out. Okay, see all recent. I'm gonna find this out. We're gonna do this. Why the hell won't it show me all my followed channels? Stop being a... Oh my god. Oh my god. I do not have my shit together today. Thanks for rating anyway. Let's see. Go back. Oh my god, go back. Yes. Yes. Okay. Well, that's what I'm gonna shout out. All right. Yes. Arts and crafts. Awesome. What kind of things are you making over there? Was it like on camera? Like you had camera set up on a table and you're like just doing the things? The arts and crafts? What? What, Barry? What? You tricked me? Did you trick me? There was no raid? It was just you? Oh. Oh. Okay, well. Whatever. That's fine. We don't all have to be on the top of our game today. I know I'm not. So how can I... Ooh, Anonymous just tipped $10. Oh, you're so anonymous. It's obviously not anonymous. All right, we will put that toward whatever we put money toward these days. Okay, so let's see. We're gonna do this shit. So now we should have all of this loaded in. There shouldn't be a single fucking chunk missing in this entire area. Ooh, what are you? Why are you missing? Maybe I didn't get to this part. But I'm sure I did. Did I miss some of them? Did some of them get missed? Does it not count if you placed the blocks inside a mountain or something? But this wouldn't have been placed inside a mountain. It's so low. Maybe it doesn't count. Maybe I have to place them higher. There's absolutely no reason. Wait, what? Hold on a second. It was teleporting 32. It was skipping. That's why it wasn't. That's why it was kind of fast. We skipped a whole bunch in the middle. That's unacceptable. Probably an extremely embarrassed wolf. I want. Was it you? You don't have to be extremely embarrassed. That's fine. Okay. So for some reason it skipped. So I gotta figure out why it's skipping like that. It should be fine to place every 16. It's just that for some reason it I think it's teleporting me twice along the z-axis. So like, see how the blocks along the x are so much closer together than the blocks along the z? Like, I think it's, yeah. And then you can see here they're exactly 2 chunks. So for some reason it's teleporting me twice. So let's try to figure that out. So we teleport on the X, and then add 16. Wait, what is that supposed to do? Oh, right. So if xval is then set block, set, yeah, frog, yeah. we're in a swamp area, so we got this frog dude. Whoa, jump. Give this slime ball. I think they like slime balls. Come on. Come on, buddy. You know you want the slime. Yeah, they like the slime ball. Ah, now he's my friend. Anyway. Okay, so we're TP on the X. TP. Slime's your frog. That sounds wrong. TP 16. Maybe it's this delay. Maybe this delay is like causing an issue. So I'm wondering if it's maybe like tripping over itself. Like a part of it is starting to run again by the time it gets to the end. It shouldn't do that. It should all run on one tick. But if I have inserted a bunch of delays in here, it might become a problem. Okay, I just have this delay here left. And, you know, maybe I'll just take that out. Oh, okay, so this is the reason. Where is the reason that it kept going forever? Oh, it kept going forever because we were skipping every other chunk, so that's why it was going further than I said, because ooh. Oh, hi Jade. did Barry guilt you into coming over just because he accidentally did a raid from you without you actually doing a raid? No, you don't have to be sorry. You're not the one. You're not the one who has to be sorry. Oh my God. Thanks for coming, Jade. What we're doing is trying to how did you find us? Oh my God. Yeah, so what we're doing is we're just trying to like copy over a bunch of shit into this Minecraft world. And because I'm using Bedrock Edition and not Java Edition, it's more complicated. Oh, you got notification you were shouted out? Yeah. Yep, Barry could not hide his shame. Yeah, I just shout out because Barry... Oh, well, never mind. We don't have to... We don't have to rehash, especially when he paid us off, technically. We're not doing a good job of dropping it after being paid off. Anyway, I'm trying to debug these command blocks because I don't know. I don't know where we went wrong. Yeah, Barry is watching too many streams at the same time. He got confused. You should yell at a cloud. I feel like I need to sit back for a second and make sure I'm doing everything in the right order. So, let's think about this. Number one. Are we still? Yeah. Take care of yourself. I hope you had a good stream, and we will try to have an awesome stream. But yeah, thanks for stopping by. Are we still in the within the correct Z area? That's the one that we'll constantly check. So, are we? If so, place block. TP forward 16. We might need... I wish there was a way to do branching. Like if that, but not that. Maybe that's what we need to do, though. I think we can. I think it is possible. TP forward 16. Are we still within correct X area? Are we outside the correct X area? Let's replace these with bullet points because I don't want to have to reorder every single time. Place block. Increment. X counter. Okay, so then we move forward. Test if we're outside the X area. And if so, TP back to X start 16 down Z, and then increment Z counter, reset X counter. Right. Place block. Or no. We don't need to place block it because it'll do that right here. Okay. So, we're standing there at the starting point. We place a block. Go forward We increment the X. Yeah. So we're tracking. Okay, so now we're right there. And it says, are we outside the X area? If so, we either go down and back and reset the counters. And then we're back at the start. So now, if we've gone outside the Z area, the whole thing stops. And if we're not outside the Z area, it'll place a block and we'll go forward 16, increment the X counter. Okay. I think that makes sense. Now, is that what we're doing? Is that what we're doing? Okay. Are we still within the correct Z area? That's the first test. If so. Okay, no. We teleport first. So, and then place the block. Okay, let's switch these around. Because that's what we did here. Okay, we place the block. Skip forward. Increment the X. Are we outside the X area? If so, run TP. I think part of the problem here... Go away. I think part of the problem here is how it does the conditionals. So, like, everything past this point. Because there's like two conditionals in here. So there's the first conditional, and then everything else should only run conditionally. Because I'm not sure if you set this to unconditional, if it'll like skip over this one and run it anyway, or if it's still technically conditional on that one going. Let's see. So that, okay, go down 16. Back to increment. Okay, I don't want to do that set block anymore. Increment Z counter, reset X counter. Okay. Okay, I need to make sure that I don't screw this up. Is it working? 50 negative. No, it's not. Negative 1582. Conditional always active. This should be on now. Oh, I turned command blocks off. That's right. True. Okay. Now it's working. Okay. Let's make this go slower so I can respond to issues as they arise. Or, no, I don't have to. I was able to type. So let's try that. Oh, right, and I need to put the ticking area back. And go back over here, where it's been so long. There we go. Okay, that's not doing anything. Sigh. We shall figure this out someday. I swear unto you. Failed execute set block as me. Why would it fail to execute set block as me? Why would it fail to execute when it just did? I'm gonna look that up. Why would it fail? Why would it fail me? I think that's something I used to know. Why does execute fail to run as me? Minecraft. Execute command fails to run as you when there is an error in the subcommand you're trying to run, or because you are not the correct target for the command's conditions. Fail to execute indicates an issue with the command being executed, not the execute structure itself. Okay. It worked before. I don't know what the heck is. It worked before. I'll just call it cobblestone. At me, run cobblestone. Okay. Is this where I had? Is this where I had the delay before? I kind of wonder if maybe it wanted that delay. But it shouldn't. Conditional, always active. Oh my god, man. It worked in the other, like when I was in the other direction, when these were reversed. Why would it work? Why would it work in one direction but not in the other direction? They're both execute commands. What if I put a delay in? Oh, still not working. Okay. That gets me some of the way there. Okay. What are you doing, sir? Conditional, always active, fuck. Failed to execute set block as Rowlga. Am I able to do it myself? Yep, I can do it myself. Can I do the execute command myself? Execute as Rowlga at myself. Run set block. I can do it in chat. That works just fine. Just you are having problems. Why? Why are you having problems? Why is my life like this? Oh. Where'd that asterisk come from? That would be a problem. Where'd that come from? Let's see if that was it the whole time. Nope, that wasn't it the whole time. That's frustrating. That's really frustrating. That's really frustrating. Jesus. Okay, well, what if we switch it back? What if we switch it back so that it does the teleport first? What does that change about our logic? TP forward. Place block, increment counter. Are we outside the X area? Fuck, we can do that. I guess that'll work too. All right. If that's the order you want to be in. TP first, set block second. Unexpected error TP at cobblestone wait, what? What? Oh. Oh. Some shit from what I was moving around in here somehow ended up pasted into here. Well, that's a thing. Okay, that's weird. That would certainly explain some things. Set block cobblestone, TP. Okay. Maybe, hopefully that was it. Hopefully that was the only issue. But I won't move this back. I won't change this back to, because we need to move on with our lives. There we go. Okay, 181, 160, 1965, 1949. Okay, we're good. It looks like we're good. We're going down in 16s this time. Uh-oh, wait a minute. We're going way too far on the x-axis. Look how far we're going. We're going over to like 800. I don't want that. Stop. Stop. This is why I didn't go into programming. I was like, fuck that. That's too much work. Okay, why is it not testing properly? Test if xval is not in range 272, score negative 333 is not in range 272. Add xval 16. Added 16. Oh, and it wasn't even setting the blocks though when we were doing that. I don't think. Let me see. Let me see over here. Yeah, it still wasn't setting the blocks. Or it was setting. It set these blocks. 49. How far did I get? 19, 17. Yeah. 17. But this didn't work. This one, it did fill in this one though. But didn't do that one. I am so super fucking confused. Hi, Josh Bale. How you doing? How'd you find us? How did you find me sitting here confused about Minecraft? And I am so confused. I am so confused. What if I... What if it runs it as itself, but runs the command at me? That might work. That might work. As targets at targets. Okay. Must be a player name, target selector. Okay, I am a player name, so that should work. Oh my god. Okay. So that will hopefully work. But now why? Now the question is why am I ending up all the fucking way over in Narnia before it teleports me back this way? So let's see. Execute as me. If xval is that, then teleport me to that. xval. So then it should reset me. I think it's having trouble reaching this point because there's so many conditionals in here. Like, they're all set to conditional, so like whether it makes it all the way to the end or not really depends. Yeah, it's not gonna do this. Oh my god, this is just so... Okay. What if... Well, it's too late to go back to what I was doing before because I've already moved everything around. It's not how it was before. I was thinking, okay, what if we just do the way it was before, where it was skipping, but just shift it over 16 so it then skips to the ones we didn't do yet. But we can't do that because I've moved everything around and I don't know how to get it back to what we had before. So I'm so what we're going to do instead, I'm going to take that away for later. What we're going to do instead is we're going to copy something else because we can do that. So what we're going to do, if you were trapped in the ad, we're just going to move to other things. There are other things I want to copy. We can do that instead. And I will figure out that nonsense with the... chunk loading on my own time at some point. Right now, though, we need to do other things. So... okay. So instead of that, we'll just go find some other things to copy. For instance, oh my god, this looked... oh no, go away. I don't want this giant selection. I don't want it. It's too many things. I'm pushing buttons and things are happening. Okay. How do I unselect? I don't know. Select, paste, operation. I don't know. Anyway, that's not what's important right now. What's important right now is we go to one of the other worlds that I was building on. We're just gonna get something nice and easy out of this one. Okay, most of this was not my work, so we're gonna skip over all that. Gotta get down to the shopping area. We got some amoguses. That's not mine. I just want the thing that is mine on this world. And that is this wolf in sheep's clothing. This is mine. This was my wool shop. So I can take this and bring it somewhere else. I actually don't even need to use this program to do it. This is small enough that I could do this from within Minecraft, but I'm just going to do it here. So okay, let's go up to what, 79? Oh, that was a pretty good guess. It's exactly 79. Oh wait, no, there's are those little... there might be carpets on top. So let's go 80. Just to be safe. And then am I getting the blocks underneath? I don't think I am. So let's go down to 62. Just to be safe. And then I don't need all of that. I think I can, so I can come in at least one block. in every direction. 7, 4, 9. Which one was it? 5. Okay. Oop, nope, its snoot's poking out now. Can't have that. Can't have that. Gotta get the whole snoot. Okay. Copy. And now we go over to 0, 0. Okay. Where do I want my boy to be in this shopping area? I guess I could just put him right there. Is there one overlooking? No, because his right side has to be facing this direction. My boy. What have you done to my boy? Paste. Rotate. No, don't rotate that way. Let me rotate along the other axis. How does that work? X rotation? No. It's not what we want. Y rotation? No, that's not what we want. That's barrel roll. So I guess it's this one that we want? Nope, it's not that one either. Why? What? I just want it to rotate. Ugh. Okay, come up. There we go. And then I want it to rotate that way. What is free rotation? What does that do? If unticked, the selection can be rotated in multiples of 90 degrees. Single degree. What does that even look like? How do you rotate something 33 degrees? What? What? That doesn't make any sense. How would that work if I hit go? Like how does that make sense? How did they break the grid? If I did this, how would Minecraft? I don't even want to know. I don't even want to know. I don't want to know. There, that's what I wanted the whole time. You want me to do this just to see what happens? I don't want to break my world. I also want to do it just to see what happens, but I don't know what it'll do. Where is this what I want? Like, what if I move it up one more? What does that look like? No, that's not what we want. Down. Okay. Confirm. And there he is. Okay, how do I make it stop with this? How do I make that go away? I don't want to paste and shit anymore. Oh. What did I just do? I don't know what oh, I put that there. Undo? Undo. Undo again? Oh, nope. I don't want to undo again. Redo. Okay. So how to get rid of this thing? Well, all I know... Okay. I changed the function from paste to select. Okay. Alright. What the fuck? You can see, like, you can see through the world if you look through the... What? Anyway, we're not here for that. So now we got this guy in place. When I am able to make another saved copy at some point, remind me to try a 33-degree rotation just to see what it breaks. But I want to wait until I can save another copy. Okay. Now. Yes, please be on it. And we will get this sheep rotated. Now, what else do we want to copy? Let's go back to that world. So yeah, at some point I copied all of the worlds that I've ever worked on into one world, just like all the worlds are like off to the 10,000s. So now I can copy them from one part of the world to another. And the plan is, once I copy all my shit out of these other worlds, I will trim it down so that all these other worlds are deleted. I still have backups of them. They're not deleted, but like... yeah, I just want to have all my shit. And only my shit. Because I don't want to pass anyone else's shit off as my own. Some of these things are pretty cool. Like, I mean, look at these. This dude made a little village here. This is the whole, like, shopping district of this world. Everyone had different shops here to sell to everybody else. I mean, it was nice. And then this person had a giant crystal mansion over here. Made out of quartz and like everything. Like, look how huge this was gonna be. It's not even done. Anyway, enough of that. I already did a stream showing off. Well, I showed off my stuff, so I guess I didn't show off other people's stuff before. Okay, so where are we gonna put my base? So this one's mine. I have this farm here and a barn where I kept my sheep. All the sheep were in these little pens to be automatically sheared, and all the wool went here, and then I took all the different dyed wools and stored them in the attic, and then when I had a lot of them I brought them over to my shop and I sold the wool. It's very nice. But I think the place that I want to put this in the world is going to also run into that same problem where I need to load the chunks. So let's actually go to a place I know, to a thing that I know. Move faster. Oh my god. Don't. Just don't. Just don't. Don't select things. Okay, thank you. Why is it going so slow now? Probably because there's a selection. All right. I know the place that I want to get something. Is up this way. You tried so hard. You got so far. And it didn't even matter. Oh my god, it's so slow. Okay, look. I need to... I'm trying to go to about this... Like, moving north. Yeah, it takes me up that way. So I want this to be the same. But I want this to be, like... 1090? Oh no, wait. No, this is going to be an entirely different world. It needs to be negative. Okay. Okay, we're on the right track. This guy's build was really cool. He had a whole ass, like, observatory. That was really cool. And some kind of bank or something. Oh no, it was some weird sauna that was too fancy. Yeah, I mean that guy was really good. That guy was so good at building. Okay. It might be the mausoleum of Halicarnassus. I wouldn't put it past him to have a obscure reference like that. So what I want to move, though, we know we're on the way because we're following this road. This road goes to the beach area build. So this is there were themed build areas on this world, and this is kind of like the beach themed area. Now, I built this Golden Gate Bridge thing, so we can copy that somewhere, but I'm not sure yet where I need a diagonal bridge of that size. What we're here for is this dude. Not an obscure reference for Civ players? Okay. I am corrected. I stand corrected. So, yes, we need this underground, underwater restaurant. That's what we're getting, because this is mine. I built it here. So. Nope. I want to select you. Why? You, please. No, not way the fuck over there. I want right here. What, right here in front of my face? Select the thing that's in front of my face, please. Okay, look. We want it to start at... Oh my god. No, I don't want to... I didn't mean to hit print screen. 904, 50, 590, and then up to somewhere. Okay, what do I have selected? I have this selected. That's not really what I want, but that's getting there. It's getting closer. 70. And then I'm going to start 6. Okay, we want to come out this direction one more. Nope. And that direction one more. There we go. And we want to come this way. Yes, this way. I And this way? Yes, this way. Ah! Did I lose it? No, it's still there. Okay, good. And then... I always feel like I'm struggling. And then I just want to encompass... this tree here that I made. And that should do it. Me making edging sounds is not in your... Well, it happened. You have experienced this. Okay, now I can copy this. Go back to 0, 0. And I want this down here. Ooh, so we have to avoid this shit. Have to make sure we don't overlap any of that. Okay, where about this? I think actually I might want this. Definitely need it rotated. Well, that's not it. Well, that's not it. Oh, I see. Okay. So I maybe don't want anything in there. Okay. And I think I want this mirrored, actually. Let's go the other direction. And then bring it over. And bring it over this way. It's like a little... It's higher than it should be. Okay, let's move it down then. I'm probably gonna have to remove a bunch of shit down here, like dig out the water a little bit more, and that's fine. I can do that. That's probably good enough. Yeah, I'll also have to... Okay, so I'll have to add a little bit of, like, structural support down here. Just, like, fill it in so it looks more natural. And I can do that by, like, digging out this freaking bullshit right here. Or actually, you know, it might be better entirely if it just comes off of this island right here. Yeah, actually, that's a lot better. Why didn't I think of that before? Yeah, that's like almost exactly where it needs to be. What was I thinking? Okay. This can go that way. This can go... Yeah. Yeah. That fucking works. Confirm. And there it is. Now it's a little weird because it's like, this is, yeah, there's just like a chunk, like a fucking chunk taken out of this. So there's some work to be done. This requires, like, in a survival world, this requires that it be cleaned up. I need to clean that up. But I can do that in survival. I will also have to make this whole area a little more sandy, I think. But that's fine. Okay. We're going to save this. Would I like to save? Yes, please. Hold on, cancel. Don't leave, actually. Let's hit the save button. Save button. Okay. Now. Close it. Go back to Minecraft. Open it. Yay, okay. We have my wolf. Oof. There it is. It is struggling. Struggling. Okay, work. I'm just noticing that my mouth isn't moving very much either. Anyway. Yep, and now we're in the guts of the wolf, where there is, you know, places, 2 diamonds a stack, carpet, beds. There we go. Then we got this dude down here. Yes, if you would like it to be endo, I guess it is. Okay, so we got some work to do connecting this up to the rest of this. Like, maybe I could have put it in a little bit further over or something, but it is where it is now. We got a little bit of bug here with the rotation, I think. The rotation's a little fucked. Oh, good. It actually saved the reservations list. So now I go down. Ta-da! Yeah. And this is a real place in Sri Lanka or the Maldives or something. It's not called, like, I had the name of the restaurant on the sign there. It's not called that anymore. They changed its name. But this one looks better, in my opinion. My version looks better. So there. Anyway, it's still a cool restaurant they have. All right. So this is all good. Gonna save and quit. And now what we're gonna do, we're gonna open, no, stop that. We're gonna open the backup world. And in the backup world, that's where we're gonna rotate the dude and see what happens. I cannot imagine what would possibly happen. I can't even begin to. It just breaks my brain that this program would even allow a 33-degree transform. Like, what? How does it decide? Because it's gonna have to snap to grid. It's gonna have to snap everything to the grid, right? So how does it decide what to snap where? Like, what overwrites what? I mean, it's got, I don't know. We'll see it. We'll see. We'll see how bad this is. Okay, hello? Can I pick? Do I still have something in my? Do I still have something in my? Oh my god. Oh my god. That's right. People can see my Discord pop-ups. Let's see if I can stop that. Thanks, Yeen. Stop having conversations in my goddamn. Okay. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. How do you turn off pop-ups? There we go. Okay. There. Fixed. Yeah, but I just need my main screen showing because it would be too much a pain in the ass to you know, too much a pain in the ass to switch between, to set up all of the different windows as sources in OBS. Okay, so what do I got? Okay, so I still have the, I think I still have the, yeah, here it is. Okay. So it's just gonna be underneath everything. Yeah, so we'll do this, can I move this? Yeah. Do this over the water. And then get rotated. Free rotation. All right. It's rotated 33 degrees in every direction. What does that mean? What grotesque transporter accident will be the result of this, of hitting confirm? Oh. What? Okay, I kind of see what it's going for. I mean, yeah, you could see how it kind of makes sense. Yeah, this would be one way to make an Escher painting in Minecraft, I guess. Oh my god, look at how much fucking straw is up there now. Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. Well, that's what happened. That's it found some place to put everything, and it looks like that now. So question answered? Okay, that's good. Yeah, well, okay, well, this is just the editor. And yeah, I guess it didn't break the game, because like if I move this into, if I open this in actual Minecraft, it'll be fine, because it's everything snapped to the grid in some way. So I don't even have to worry about that. It's just, it's kind of impressive that this program can do anything of the sort. So close that. Do I want to save? No, let's not save that. But it was nice to figure out. Okay. What else? You know what? Let's see. We've been going for 3.5 hours. I can smell dinner. Half expect the entire world to get shifted. That would be. Oh my. I'm not gonna think about that. I can smell dinner. We've been going for 3 hours, 40 minutes. I think that's about where we call it then. That's gonna be good enough. Thanks everybody for coming. This is the first time back streaming after a year. Yeah, I'll just keep, doing whatever when I have time to stream, and we'll see how it goes. Thanks everybody who has donated. Thanks all the people scrolling up the screen who have donated in the past before Twitch's API limitations stopped adding people to the list. So we also thank everybody who's donated since then, including you, Barry. I think you might even be on this list anyway. The rest of the crew is taking time off for the holidays, so they'll be back afterward. And in the meantime, we should find somebody to raid. Raid browser? What do we got? What do we got? Does anyone have a suggestion? Anybody know anybody that's streaming right now that deserves a raid? Oh, the goals, them goals are on. Okay, that'll do. Okay. Here we go, everybody. Thanks for coming, and we'll see you guys again later. Peace.